1. Hello, I am Espissus, and I'm your host today from the Conclave of Artar, bringing you some community information to help you decide on where you want to settle yourself within our ranks. For those of you who are new to the channel, we are a community gathered around the upcoming game, The Chronicles of Elyria, a game in development by Soulbound Studios. Now, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about this upcoming game, there should be a link below to take you to their website. Um, yeah, so like I said earlier, we are members of the Conclave of Aratar. This is a duchy within the Kingdom of Ornair, and we're going to be introducing you to the members of our community and discussing some topics about our community and the game The Chronicles of Elyria. Joining me this week as a guest is Joe Middle, Jodre Uidhir, um,
Jodre Uidhir.
Jodre Uidhir. So he's a count within the Conclave of Aratar, and we're gonna be interviewing him today, asking him some questions about who he is, what he intends for his county, and some mind and mentality questions about him and his. Um, Anything you'd like to say off the bat, Georgie?
Nothing off the bat. Auspicious. Just feel free to take off.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, no,
Questions.
no, we'll get right into it then. Straight into the point. So in this forum, we like to ask a lot of questions to our guests, and we kind of break them into three sections. Um, so we want to find out more about you as an individual, and then we also want to find out more about your community, the people around you thus far, and what you guys intend to do with your account package that you have. Um, so starting right off the bat, you've got a gamer tag. How did you decide your gamer tag, your alias, the personality that you use in the game space?
So my gamer tag or my character name for
Well, let's
Illyria here.
let's let's hit both because
All
this is
right.
a
So
community of individuals interested in Illyria, and you are one of those. But I'd love to hear your history if you're able or
yeah.
if you're willing to talk.
Joe Middle actually stemmed from my middle name, Joseph, shortened to Joe, because my buddies, um, because I happen to have a lot of people around me who share my first name, so we decided that it was easy and convenient to start calling me Joe, and so Joe, and then from that stemmed Joe Middle.
Now, that leads to a question, Joe. There, you mentioned there's a lot of Joes in the world. There's a lot of Joes. Now, do you just happen to sit as the middlest Joe? Like, there's equal number of bigger Joes and smaller Joes, and so you are the middle Joe,
I
or just
I I don't know. I just know that I'm a middle child. I'm usually a pretty average dude, so I'm a fairly middle Joe. I'm like that Joe whenever you're like, the average Joe. I'm Joe Middle.
yeah, yeah, no, 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 I got you. Average Joe, middle Joe, well balanced Joe, well rounded Joe. Joe who can get stuff done.
hmm Exactly.
Yep,
And
yep.
then as for my character name, Yodre, uh, stems from Joe again, and my first name just kind of smashed together to something that I kind of thought sounded cool, but also kind of I thought sounded like a name. And then Udhir is actually the root name of my actual last, and the emblem, part of the emblem you saw before, was actually an actual coat of arms of somebody long ago in my family line.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that
and
one.
this emblem right here. And oh, that's interesting.
Exactly.
You've got some ties back to the icons, the structures that you've created for your character in the Chronicles of Lyria. I love that. That I think is fantastic. The ability to take you as a person, your personality, your history, and safely translate that to more things, to some sort
Hmm.
of I don't know how heavy you do role play or other sorts of creative media, but the idea that you can take something that is you and extend it to something that is like you.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, as per roleplay, I was talking to my bear and just moments ago, who's super into video game RP, and I'm just like, I've RP'd, but in like Dungeons and Dragons kind of sense, not often in within video games. So for me, this Elyria is kind of almost like a new opportunity for that, where I'm gonna roleplay a character who, uh, essentially, my image of him is somebody who could be like one of my ancestors, if you
And
would.
interesting, interesting, yes. From you, like you. No, I like that. I like that. Like I
Exactly.
said. Now you mentioned Dungeons and Dragons. What are some other things? What are some other things that you've engaged in the gaming community? Do you prefer like FPSs? Do you like things that are strategic, like Civilization? Are you more of a? I'm not thinking EverQuest. What was the game? There was a very role play heavy game that was it's 20 years old or so at this point, and I'm
Ultima.
Ultima Online. That's what I was thinking of. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you reach for if it's a rainy day, rainy Sunday, and you're like, you know what? I need to scratch an itch. What type of game do you reach for?
Oh, that's a rough one. I play a lot of different kinds of games. It's mostly about, for me, the group. I enjoy the group aspect of game and gaming. Even if it's just a single player game, discussing aspects of it, strategies of it, and that kind of thing. For example, a recent game that I've played that I'll talk your ear off about, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and I'll enjoy almost talking about the game with people just as much as I actually enjoy playing the game itself.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I love Kingdom Come. Like I put quite a few hours into that game trying to
hmm
well, struggling for me, I guess, to it's different. It's different than games like Skyrim where you can go inside and you can just hack slash your way through it from the first
hmm
point. There's a definitely a learning curve to get their combat system, to get their interaction
Oh,
in their community.
dude, in that first opening scene when you're running from Galit
Oh yeah.
because the humans are coming in,
Yep, yep.
I didn't realize you were supposed to be running. I'm trying to fight these humans. Biggest mistake.
Yep, yep. And so, like, no, it's a fantastic game, like
Oh
that
yeah.
sort of thing. But the way you described it back there, made me think a lot of, you mentioned the discussion around the game, the the being able to converse with a community is very
hmm
valuable to you. I like that. I think
Oh yeah.
that's a good thing for individuals, for gamers to have is that ability and willingness to discuss things that they enjoy, just like anybody else. And with those discussions in mind, we start thinking, your account in the Conclave of Aratar, you have a package that implies power. Um, and you've just talked about something that, and a lot of the discussions in this forum and other forums are discussing. And that's how does leadership look like? Is this a communication kind of leadership? How does a leader talk to, the community that they're supporting or representing, And so that's going to lead into our next question here, and that's really, what does leadership mean to you from JFK to Mussolini to Walt Disney to Steve Jobs, What are some of the characteristics? What are some of the thoughts that you have
Yeah.
about leadership?
So for me, leadership, like when I think of the term leadership and what it means to me, it's like leadership. I look at it as a skill, right? A talent that some people, or not, kind of like a talent that some people have, and some people have to kind of work toward. To me, good leadership involves a lot of other good, good traits. Um, that are important. But as per leadership within my county, I hope that I within Magurba, my county, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for leadership for my mayors, for my baron, and for others who are interested in that sort of thing. For me, the best leaders are the ones who share the role. Um, and that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for within my county.
So when you think about leadership, you think of it as a symbiotic kind of thing, improve together, succeed together kind of
Yeah, yeah.
vision. You
The
would,
best leaders are there in the gutters working, um, as well as the best leaders are the ones who are taking input from the crowd, as well as letting others help lead.
interesting, interesting. It reminds me of a song, an old song about poker. Um, I'm not gonna sing it in this venue, but
Oh no, you should totally sing this
no,
for
no, I'll hold myself back. I've been known to have people, the sirens, the sirens of old, of
Oh
lore.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid that our listening audience would be smitten if I were to open my mouth like
You gotta just save
that.
it for the end then.
Save it for the end. Maybe we'll do an outro with some song. So yeah, no, that's interesting. A very symbiotic, a very healthy, or not. I don't want to uh, bring down anybody's leadership style, but a very by saying this is healthy, this is not healthy. But this is a very symbiotic style. It's a style that we've heard a lot of in the people that we've interviewed so far, that you know we want as a community to succeed. We want to succeed together, and we don't want to succeed by pushing other people underneath our foot. Um,
Hmm.
there's been some discussion about individuals who are more not militaristic per se, but more dictator-like. But even then, that this is a community. How would you identify the community, um, Joe? Like
Um,
like what would you say? A adjective used to describe the leadership community inside the conclave. One word you think, and it's
one word. Um, Obviously a cop out answer, but excellent. Because we're part of that leadership. But to be honest, there's a lot of words I have about the leadership of the conclave, but
I mean,
all good,
for five
all
dollars,
good.
we'll start the pay to win at this point now. So for $5, Joe, you can add another word to your single word. No, no, I like
Oh
it.
god.
Excellent. I think that basically describes that you feel very confident that the
Mm,
leaders that you see within the community are included in and engaging with their communities. Um, so I like
mm.
that's pretty good. Excellent works for me.
One thing that I really like about them is that it seems like we're in it for the longevity of Illyria, which is what I've been looking for.
Yeah, the longevity. I mean, the long haul. You would say that you're excited about the game, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, of course.
Y- Yeah, the game, the community, the chance to engage. Like this is very exciting. There's a lot of people out there that are excited about Illyria. I know in our Discord, the Conclave of Aratar, we see new members come in at a. It comes and goes in waves, but a very
Sometimes at
consistent.
alarming rate.
Yes, sometimes at an alarming rate. A very consistent flow and I think that just relates to that people are excited about this game concept, this idea. I know I am, and I believe you are. But specifically, what about the Chronicles of
Sorry.
Elyria? No, you're fine. The Chronicles of Elyria as a game excites you. When I say Chronicles of Elyria, you're like the first hook that got me was what?
Oh, uh, first hook. So for me, it was the community by far. I looked at the game. I really liked what it was discussing about, like its mechanics, talents, its skills, um, its idea of what an MMO should be. Um, but then what kind of hook, line, and sinker for me was the community. Um, I I didn't really pick up a lot for Elyria until I started, getting hyped by the game itself as well as the group, our aspirations, our goals, our plans, um, and just meeting the fellow Illyrians and forming this community. This I don't know what what's the best way to sum it up, but it's all the community.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think, being able to log on once a week, once a day, once a month, and coming into that Illyrian door and saying, hey, oh, it's been a while, I haven't heard from you, or hey, you know, I know you play this game and I'd like to play that with you, or hey, this is a subject we're talking about, almost like, this forum, and say, hey, let's discuss this more. I like that. That's family to some degree, isn't it?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Totally.
So no, that's exciting. The at the end of the day, whatever talents, whatever storyline, whatever world that Soulbound Studio creates, like I feel very confident to say that the community built around the game,
Is
if
gonna make it work.
yep, is gonna make it work,
Yeah.
is gonna enjoy. Right now we don't even have a game right now. Like there's not a game that I can log into and I can play that you can log into that you can play. And we're still sitting here creating a stream, creating a YouTube video, engaging with the population, with ourselves, with others, and creating these bonds between each other. I think that's fantastic. Is there anything, else outside of the community? So community is a huge deal, huge
Oh
deal.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, of course. Like if we're just talking about mechanics that they've discussed that excite me, there's just oodles of that. The whole soul system, the model in which they're holding the game to, like the sparks of life. I think that's gonna keep people very invested in the game. Not to the point like overly invested, where they feel like they need to constantly be showing up to play. But it's gonna be a game I feel that you're gonna want to log on at least once a week to see what's going on, to see how your character's progressing, to see the world evolve. And um,
Yeah, no,
those kind of mechanics really excite me.
yeah, yeah, no, and you brought up the soul system, and this hasn't come up in the stream yet, but they what they have suggested as a payment plan, a way that you engage the community, you let people play the game, but you also like there's no such thing as a free lunch, and I'll be the first one to say it. I love playing games and I hate paying for them. But the way that they have all their system tries to allow individuals to, you're excited about it. Here's a minimum uh, investment that you put in, and you get X period of time. So now, like they say, a spark, um, a spark of life, which is basically the subscription cost of this game. Lasts
Hmm.
you what, a full year, 52 weeks.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
almost pretty much a full year. Sometimes it's going to be shorter in some people's cases. Like,
might be longer, might be shorter, depending on how you want to play the
hmm
game. Um, but
hmm
yeah, no, like you have this ability to get involved without an undue amount of commitment and engage in whatever you want to, whether you're able to come in 1 hour every day, every month, every year, 5 hours every day, every month, every year, and you get to scale that out without necessarily falling behind because of OPC scripts.
that's one thing that's also very exciting.
Yeah, no, OPC scripts. I think we've talked about them before, Joe. It's been a long
Hmm.
while, but
Yeah, it's been a bit, but yeah, my background is I'm a for career for my job right now. software support engineer. So what I do is a lot of like bug testing and that kind of thing. But what I've done through my education and my career has been development, and so and scripting, and OPC is probably going to be very close to a lot of what I've done, especially in scripting. And so I just can't wait to see it. That's to see what freedoms we get there. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and the studios thus far, they haven't given us a lot of information. They've given us a lot of intention, a lot of this is what we want to do, this is what it will look like,
mhm,
intentionally in the background. But, out of the stuff that they have been able to, we're confident in repeating at least in this venue, so we know, very confident in is that they're going to use TypeScript, or a subset of Java in order to
mhm.
when they create these scripts. And so individuals like yourself, Joe, do you ever consider, I guess, the commercial possibility of OPC scripts?
Oh yeah. Whoa, a
Make
commercial. I
make
wasn't even thinking
Oh,
commercial. I'm
I'm a mind of money, and
see.
so
I'm the kind of guy who likes to make freeware.
oh, I
Um,
see, I see. So now, what you're
so
basically suggesting then is, for those of you who are listening, whether it's now or in the future, if you would like to have a fully customized script, to do a job, you got to
nope,
contact your
nope.
count Joe here, and he
No,
will
no, no.
slave
I'm not
away.
saying I'll do custom
Oh, no,
orders.
no, he'll
That's not what I'm
slave
saying.
away for free, mind you. Um, I'm sure you've talked to Yutogi about, scripting and had discussions with him about what that's going to look like.
Actually, I don't think I have. I might have had short conversations with him about it, but I don't think we've gotten into any lengthy discussions about OPC.
We're going to network you two together because if you've got any background in programming, I don't do JavaScript, I do Visual Basic.
Hmm.
But if you have
Oh,
any,
Visual Basic.
yeah,
What?
it's a job thing.
Okay, that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
interesting.
It's at my place of employment, there is a program that we use that is spaghetti code. Um, and it is all
Oh
written
God.
in VB. And
Update it, man. Update it.
well,
At least move it to C. At least. At
we'll
least do that.
we'll we'll see. I would love to do that when I have the time. But the point
Yeah,
being is, if you
exactly.
have any background in programming in Java, then I'm sure Utogi would love to you know have your opinion weigh in when we start talking about OPC scripts and the Dutchie's ability to support OPC scripts. There's been discussions at times within, our community and other communities that if OPC scripts are such a big deal, if they enable players to jump back into a game after a week and not feel like they have done absolutely nothing,
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
it's not an undue burden for us to recognize a number of OPC scripts that we like that are created by our community and allow them to be accessed by other members within and without the community. Um,
Yeah, I what I plan on doing is I essentially plan on making essentially a library of OPC scripts once they give us that material.
yeah,
Just so say hey you're a farmer, you're farming this kind of thing. Here's a script that I use that worked well for you. Go for it.
yeah,
Try it out. Let me know.
a baseline, a library. I like that. I like that. And
Yeah.
as you described that there, you kind of touched on our next subject, and you described creating a library, helping the people around you. What we're going to extend that further. In what role do you intend to do that? Is that, as you as a count? Is this you as a leader of a settlement? What is your vision for your county, your settlement? What do you intend to do? How do you intend to have that community
Hmm.
engage?
So I feel like I'm gonna hold different different things with my settlement as I do with my county. Um, what I'm gonna heavily try and encourage within my county is agriculture, um, with a bend toward animal husbandry for the purposes of mounts. One thing that always gets me excited in RPGs is the variety of mounts that I'll be able to use within the. I like getting around. I don't like being bogged down by foot slogging it around. Um, and so one thing that I try and encourage is animal husbandry, breeding the best horses within Magurba. Um, and I plan on being centrally located within the duchy, so that everybody gets horses.
Yeah,
But also food. Like I want to make sure there's enough food to go around, not only within my county, but to neighboring counties that might have issues because we're going to be, um, as far as I am aware, Harathi are on the horizon, and I don't think the Harathi are going to be good at the agriculture scene. And so having a neighbor being able to send you barrels of hay and oats and whatever might be very handy.
you've got your mind on horses there. Here, my Harathi neighbors, eat this hay, have these oats. No, I love it. And that's an interesting declaration, interesting intention there, because do you feel like that is going to guide? You said centrally located, so you've already stated that your intention with your county is guided to the center. Does this affect race that you as a count intend to
it,
be?
it, it, it totally does. So for race, for me, I want to be brood Broodveer. They've mentioned in their lore about being good at animal husbandry, something that they excel at. So if there's a lot of Broodveer roaming around my county, hopefully that also helps to encourage my goals. But also Broodveer are big, strong-looking people, right? That's also going to be good for part of my goals because part of my goals include cavalry. I want my baron and I want my own little personal squad of knights. And I want to be not even roaming around my county, but moving out to help others in need. Um,
Highly mobile, highly effective warriors who ride upon the beasts that your county is known for. You know,
exactly.
taking your efforts towards animal husbandry and, when you expect to engage in combat, allowing that benefit in animal husbandry to help be a combat advantage or a trading advantage or any other advantage that.
Any advantage. I want the fastest, the strongest, the hardiest horses.
Yeah, yeah, no, I like
Not
that.
necessarily all at the same time. I don't plan on having no wonder.
Yeah, I can see it. Joe, that it's a very interesting looking steed you've got there. It seems you've bred a Clydesdale and an Arabian. Are you sure it's going to be able to? Those ankles are going to be able to take it. Yeah, no, no, and I think that's a good thing to point out here is you want to use that agriculture base, that animal husbandry, and expand from there. That's a very easily identifiable trait within your county. And so
Hmm.
those of you who are listening now or in the future, if you're looking for a place that wants to raise horses, wants to be a little more on the, not domestic, agriculture and take the advantages that animal husbandry gives a player or a town. It's a good consideration to you know suggest that you'll be in the Maruba, correct?
Magurba.
Magruba, the county of Magruba. Um, yeah, yeah. And no. So is there? Well, I guess let's. I'm gonna hold back the reins here. What are there other things about your settlement that you feel that you want to express at this moment? Any other grand plans that you can brag about?
Not anything you can brag about because I feel like some of the things that I plan on encouraging others are gonna be encouraging as well. Like I plan on doing like RPG or not RPG, RP events like jousts or feasts or dances or whatever within my own settlement, um, or jousts throughout the county. Again, focus on them horses. Uh,
Um,
but other than that, I can't really name anything that I don't think other count within art aren't also planning.
so as an ending statement, what I'm going to leave it as, Joe's County of Magurba. Come here for the come here for the horses, stay because your cart breaks down, or some form thereof, known for its horses, known for its love of animals in that form. I think that leaves a very strong message, like I said earlier, to the viewers now and in the future, that if they're looking for some place to come to, whether it's permanently or temporarily, and
Or even if you just want a horse.
or if you just want a horse, you woke up one morning and you're like, I'm hankering for a riding animal. I'm gonna go see the world. Stop by Maruba and they'll get you settled there. So in our duchy and in these interviews, uh, we like to basically engage in a number of different areas, whether they be PvP like things, PvE in an environment economics kind of things, or RP role playing like avenues. So the next question is a little heavier on the role play side. And so if you've thought about it, we'd love to hear some thoughts, and if you haven't, we'd love to help develop them with you. How did your settlement become established? What's some of the history of the county, of the cities? What can you tell us? What have you thought of?
Mhm. So, I haven't really thought of a whole lot in regards to this, but I do have the kind of kindling start to what I think is going to be part of the final version of Magurba's history, and it is going to essentially circle around a character called Udir, which is a name on the emblem, and actually the name comes from somebody historically within my family, essentially the founder of my family, or my lineage, Udir. Um, and so that's kind of like a nod to to my family. It's kind of like celebrating my family because my family means a lot to me.
Gotcha. Now, if I may be so bold as asking, and maybe you don't know this off the top of your head, we didn't prep for this sort of question. Um, Makudir, the
Mm-hmm.
the the scion of your lineage, are you able to give like a 1 minute review of the accomplishments, who Mac Udir was? Um,
Yeah. So um, the the briefest of briefs about Udir is that he was a fabled warrior from a lost tribe of Bruvir. He lost his people. He went out on a great big hunting this great Dryas elk, giant elk, bigger than any he's seen before. Happened to get very lucky against his fellow hunters, and so he chased this thing down, leagues upon leagues upon leagues. He chased this great thing, this great elk down and slayed it. And so after that, what does one do after chasing something for many leagues? Probably get lost. And from there, Udir goes to another another Broodveer village. Essentially, is better than any of their warriors. Um, is essentially the the Hercules of the area, the hero, the big guy, the strong man, but also cunning and smart. As later in his history, there is essentially some political fallout between some other tribes, and he ends up playing a big part in flipping the battle for one side. which is going to be one of my neighbor counties, Bakimble, Count Bakimble. We're kind of trying to link our lore together in a way. So essentially, somebody who's trying to overthrow his county in his history, Mac Udir helped fight against and essentially won both of their freedoms.
Interesting. I'm going to
Yeah.
have to ask about that in the future. Would love to see how that develops, and maybe in the future, when everything is written in stone, we'll circle back to that story and have a little segment.
I'm really hoping that to um, get it all, fiddled out and worked out. But it's going to take some collaborative effort,
Well,
of course.
of course, of course. As one of the efforts that we're considering, we're moving towards in this channel is, reviews of stories, of lore, of role playing, and creating those in a manner that individuals can click on our YouTube and immerse themselves in a story. And so I like what you've said so far about, the history of Makudir. And when you get to the point with Bakimba and you say, hey, this is good, I think we're finished. I would love to have, you guys back. We'll do something like a read through of your history together. And
Oh,
then
that would be really cool.
a read through of your history, and then another video where we talk about, what it was like to create this and what you were thinking about. I really like that idea. Um, yeah, yeah, no, so that's your settlement, how it became established, lore-wise, a little bit about its history inside there. Um, we don't have a lot of questions left on this interview thus far. It's about 40 minutes since we started, and we don't. I don't have too much more prepared in this case. Is there anything particular, Joe, that you want to bring up at this time and discuss?
No, I'm thinking. I've said a lot about Magurba. We've been talking for a bit here, and I think gotta leave it on that high note. And for hopefully those viewing or hearing what we have today, hopefully you can get an opportunity to join in on my Discord, uh, chat with either me or my Baron about your plans and what you plan on doing in Illyria, and if you think what you want for Illyria kind of matches what I'm going for my Gerba, by all means come join in and uh, yeah,
Yeah, and,
be,
and
be a part of the
engage,
community.
be a part of the community. No, I like
Engage,
that.
yeah.
I like that. And before we leave here, listeners, we've got before we get to the goodbyes, I wanna give you a reminder that we, the guests and hosts of Face the Conclave, we hail from the Conclave of Artar. If you or a friend is part of the Artarian community and you wish to have a similar spotlight for your group, your school, your organization, your town, or your county, reach out to Jedzia for scheduling. In the future, we've discussed having Joe here come back with his Baron, with anybody who is taking a leadership role in his community, and having another one of these conversations to touch base and see what's changed, see what's going on. If you're looking for something similar, please reach out to Jedzia and we'll get you on the books. Now, if you've got a topic that you'd like to talk about with the Illyrian community at large, maybe you have a story you wish to be told, like we described earlier with the lore events. Maybe you want to talk about with the crafting system or the information that we have thus far about crafting or politics, the economy, maybe deviant lifestyles, PvP lifestyles. Reach out to me, Asbestos, and we'll put something together to discuss in this media form. Um, so without further ado, this has been Face the Conclave. I've been your host, Aspicis, here with our guest, Jodre Uidhir, Count of Magurba. Join his Discord, get connected. We're gonna see you next time. Bye bye.